Choosing to work as a journalist often means accepting to live as a nomad. I've moved across much of this country for jobs, to Halifax, Montreal, Hamilton, London, Toronto several times. I have beautiful memories of each place. But this place holds special meaning. Owen Sound, Ontario. It's my hometown. So as I bring this cross-country tour and my CBC career to an end, it feels right to return to the place where the journalism journey began. There's no place like home to celebrate, and that's what we're going to do this morning with live music, good food, community leaders, inspiring change makers, a live audience. I'll introduce them a little bit later on. But we have a big and breaking story coming out of Jamaica this morning, and let's begin there with the headlines today. Hurricane Melissa slams into the island nation. Intensely powerful winds now pummeling the coastline. Jamaica's Prime Minister warns the Category 5 storm could soon overwhelm the country's infrastructure.
Pray that this hurricane does not hit us directly.
Several people are already confirmed dead in Jamaica, Haiti, and the Dominican Republic. Chris Murphy is tracking what is believed to be the world's most powerful storm this year. Alberta invokes the notwithstanding clause to order its teachers back to work. That move ends a 3-week strike that kept about 750,000 students out of the classroom.
It's a unique strike. We've never had 51,000 workers off the job at the same time.
We'll have the latest reaction, including from the teachers' union that is now planning to launch a legal challenge. And the Blue Jays stumble at the finish line of a World Series marathon. Toronto falls to the Dodgers in the bottom of the 18th inning.
High fly to center. Varsho back. Game over.
We'll hear from Jays fans who were at Dodger Stadium, and we'll talk baseball with the legendary voice of sports radio here in Owen Sound. Good morning. It's Tuesday, October the 28th. You're watching a special edition of Morning Live, and it is extra special because we're in my hometown, Owen Sound, and we have shut down, for all of these people, we have shut down the main street right here in front of City Hall. Look at our live audience. They've been here all morning. It's fantastic, even at this early hour, and despite the very late ending to the baseball game, which we will talk about in just a second. We are, of course, keeping a very close eye on a dangerous situation in Jamaica, and that's where we're going to begin our news today, with live pictures coming in from Kingston, Jamaica. You can see here, we are starting to see the early effects of Hurricane Melissa on its slow churn toward Jamaica's south coast. It's set to make landfall this morning as a monster Category 5 storm, in fact, the most powerful storm on the planet this year. Melissa is packing sustained winds up to 280 kilometers an hour. Jamaica could see as much as 76 centimeters of rain when it hits, with storm surges on the south coast set to reach as high as 4 meters. This is video from earlier yesterday in Kingston, the massive storm already bringing wind and rain. Mandatory evacuation orders are in effect for Jamaica's vulnerable coastal areas. The U.S. National Hurricane Center has warned Melissa could cause catastrophic flash flooding and multiple landslides. The storm is already being blamed as well for 7 deaths in the region, 3 in Jamaica, 4 others in Haiti and the Dominican Republic. And we have these new images as well, dramatic satellite footage of Hurricane Melissa, and you can see the size of this storm. It is massive as it approaches Jamaica. Look at the top of your screen there, that outline. That is the island as outlined right at the top, so you could get a sense of the storm and its size as it approaches. It's expected to pass northward across Jamaica over the course of the day and then move onward to Cuba, where it's set to hit tomorrow morning. We do have Chris Murphy tracking things very closely all morning. He'll join us later in the hour and, of course, throughout our program today with the very latest updates as Melissa gets set to make landfall. But this next story has been on the minds of people here in Owen Sound for more than 2 years. The killing of Sharif Rahman. Rahman owned the Curry House, a restaurant literally just about 2 blocks from where we are, just down this way on the main street of Owen Sound. There's an image of him, so well loved and so well respected in Owen Sound, not just because of his food, but because of his community engagement. And since his death in August of 2023, this community has been seeking answers. Those finally came in the form of a CBC News investigation. Our senior investigative reporter, Jonathan Gatehouse, has joined us here in Owen Sound to share with us and with the audience what he has learned. Good morning.
Good morning, Heather. So, Heather, as you said, this is a tragedy for this community, but also a story that reverberated across the country and even across the Atlantic. This was a situation where, as you mentioned, there was very little information that was shared with the public by the police or the courts. And in fact, it wasn't until we went looking for a file hidden inside a Scottish court that we were finally able to piece together what is alleged to have happened that night.
For 2 years, these photos have been the only glimpse of the men accused in the death of Owen Sound restaurant owner Sharif Rahman.
That is, until now. Building on documents filed in a foreign court, a CBC News investigation has verified images of the 3 men, a father, son, and an uncle. In August 2023, a group of men dining at the Curry House allegedly tried to duck out on a $150 bill. That's when Rahman gave chase. Witnesses say he was felled by a single punch, his head hitting the pavement. He died in hospital a week later, leaving behind his wife and young daughter and a shaken, sorrowful community. Robert Evans Jr. is charged with manslaughter. His father, Robert Evans Sr., and uncle, Barry Evans, are each charged as accessories after the fact. According to court documents, Evans Jr. and Sr. entered Canada on valid UK passports with fake names. They didn't have work visas, but police say they were operating a cash-only business called Total Paving and were doing jobs in Owen Sound in mid-August.
The 911 call for an assault in progress came in at 9:23 p.m. When officers arrived, they found Rahman lying on the pavement, unresponsive with critical injuries. According to police, it was Evans Jr. who threw the punch that killed him. Evans Jr. left Canada on a flight from Toronto to London the next day, the rest of the family following on separate planes. UK authorities received the arrest warrants in March 2024. It took them months to track the trio down in Edinburgh, Scotland. All 3 have been in custody ever since and will now be extradited to Canada.
Reporting from Jonathan Gatehouse, and again, a surprise, all of the word of the extradition agreement. Tell us more about what you've learned about the hearing itself.
Yeah, you're right, Heather. It was a surprise, and that's because in the preliminary stages, these men and their lawyers had argued that, firstly, that the charges in Canada didn't match up with Scottish law, and then secondly, that prison conditions in Ontario were too overcrowded and run down that it would be effectively cruel to send them here to jail. That all changed suddenly last week, and it followed a letter sent from the Crown Attorney for Grey County, the county that we're in now, to the court in Edinburgh, saying that the jail time they'd already served in Scotland would be taken into account in his submissions to the judge in the event that these men are convicted of a crime. So in other words, credit for time served.
So do we have a time frame then? When will they be extradited?
We don't have one yet. We've asked both the Crown and their lawyers in Scotland, and no one has gotten back to us on that. But there are logistical concerns, things like flights to organize and security escorts. Once they're back here, they'll finally have a chance to enter a plea of guilty or not guilty. And should this matter go to trial, it's probably several months away.
All right, Jonathan, thank you. Thank you for making the trip. Information that is very, very relevant and of interest to the people here and, of course, nationally as well. So we'll look forward to more of the investigation next hour. Jonathan will have further details. And again, thank you very much. There is some breaking news to bring you this hour, and it comes from Alberta. The provincial government passed a bill early this morning that ends the 3-week-long teacher strike. The province introduced the legislation yesterday using the notwithstanding clause to shield it from legal challenges. The move is being criticized by many, with some critics going as far as calling it a war on workers.
This is not a war that we chose, but make no mistake, this government has declared war on working people, not just in this province, but across the country.
The legislation forces teachers back to work as early as Wednesday, which is tomorrow, and also imposes a 4-year collective contract. The Alberta Teachers Association issued a statement this morning saying it plans to challenge the bill. 51,000 teachers walked off the job earlier this month following a contract dispute centered on wages and classroom conditions. Well, it was a World Series game to remember, and that's an understatement. 18 innings, oh my goodness. Anybody here watch right through until the end? Right through to 2:45 in the morning, and you're already here? That's incredible. What an ending it was. So they saw it, some of them did. If you went to bed and missed it, well, then we have to share the moment it all came to an end.
Center, Varsho back, game over. Freddie Freeman walks it off with a home run to straightaway center field. The Dodgers win it, and they take a 2-1 lead in the World Series.
So, yes, it was a whole lot of disappointment for Blue Jays fans who stayed up to watch it all. Freddie Freeman, all the extra dagger because he's Canadian. He had that walk-off home run in the 18th. Brendan Little giving up that home run. And this is what fans said as they left the stadium after that marathon.
Absolute heartbreak. I mean, you sit through 18 innings to watch that, but you know what? We got another game tomorrow, so we'll be ready for it again. Yeah. It is what it is.
Hopefully we win the next couple games. We send it back to Toronto and win it at home. But I can't complain at all about tonight. It's been a great series. We all knew it was going to be a long series, a tough battle, and we're here to battle it out till the end.
The heartbreak is they should have walked Ohtani every single time. That's what had to happen. We would have won, but it was a great game. It was an amazing watch. I've been to over 50 baseball games in my life. This was the greatest single one I ever watched.
It was extraordinary. Those are the fans in Los Angeles. This is the scene in Toronto, a packed Rogers Centre. They have a huge watch party, just $15 tickets to see those away games. And many people there stayed up, of course, into the wee hours of the night, with the game ending just before 3 a.m. Eastern, 6 hours and 39 minutes of play. And again, that Freddie Freeman home run to end things. Look who I have with me here in Owen Sound, a very special guest to handle our Blue Jays coverage this morning. Recognize this gentleman, anybody?
Hi, everybody.
Fred Wallace, the voice of sports for radio listeners in this region for a generation, someone I have known and have been privileged to work with for many, many years as well. This is fantastic. And look at you. You understand the assignment. Well, you're ready to roll.
Ian said, have some guts, take your jacket off, and wear your Blue Jay jacket. So that, I'm bowing to Ian's power with your crew.
So I was just noticing in the background of some of those clips from the fans who were there, an awful lot of Ohtani jerseys, of course, at the Dodger Stadium, and for good reason. What a show he put on last night.
Yeah, and you mentioned Freddie Freeman's the hero. He hits the walk-off home run. Dodgers win the game. They go up 2-1. But in terms of that, what the one fan was saying about the history that they witnessed last night, only two other players have done, only Ohtani and one other player have ever done what he did last night. 4 extra base hits. And in the night, Heather, he went double, home run, double, home run, and then they walked him intentionally 4 times, and they walked him a 5th time. So they don't know that he'll ever get to see another pitch in this World Series because he's so terrific.
John Schneider, of course, the skipper, even after that marathon, had to answer reporters' questions, and this is what he said about Ohtani.
His performance was really good. You know, he's arguably the best player on the planet, you know. I think he kind of reacted in real time a little bit. You know, again, man, they have a really talented lineup. You know, it's not the easiest thing in the world to just walk him and face Mookie and Freddie. You know what I mean? So every situation is different. You know, you gotta really execute at a high level against him. And I think the first couple games we did. You know, I know he hit the homer off Fish in Game 1, but I think that we executed pretty well, minus today, you know, and he's a great player and took some really good swings today.
Did he ever? As we said, 2 home runs, 2 doubles, and then that many 5, the intentional walks, incredible. And he has to pitch tonight.
Yes, so hopefully his arm is sore from going around the bases. I know his legs should be sore from going around the bases. But and just to wrap up, Heather, as much as you're a Blue Jay fan and these folks are Blue Jay fans, you have to respect what he's doing on a historic level, and it makes you excited about tonight's game, and hopefully it's a Blue Jay win.
You know, you might not think he'd be able to, but he had the 3 home runs and the 10 strikeouts when he was pitching last time. So that was just a phenomenal performance, and we'll see what he has to deliver tonight. Of course, 8 o'clock is game time. It's a crucial game. All of these are for the Blue Jays. All of the fans still believe this is a team that has built the season on the comeback. What do the Jays have to do tonight?
Well, I think they have to score some runs or get the breaks that they didn't get last night. They had a runner thrown out at third base. Isaiah Kiner-Falefa was thrown out at third base. Davis Schneider was thrown out at the plate. So I think if they get those sort of breaks and continue to stay at it, then the Blue Jays should do extremely well tonight and force a Game 6 back in Toronto, and then I'll hit you up for a loan, and you and I will go to the ball game.
That sounds pretty good. That sounds really good. So 8 p.m., of course, the start as we watch from Dodger Stadium. So question, baseball. You're the voice of hockey, but you know your baseball too. A lot of Jays fans here in Owen Sound?
Oh, yes, for sure.
If we got them to do a Let's Go Blue Jays? If we got them to do a Let's Go Blue Jays, Let's Go Blue Jays. All right, let's go Blue Jays. We got to get everything going.
Like you mean it.
Yes. Oh.
Pardon? There we go, Heather.
You have done this before. Back in the 1890s, I was reading, Owen Sound had one of the best baseball teams in the province. So there's a long, long history here. And
they still play. The Bay Sox are a very successful men's team in Owen Sound. So it does. Tom Williams Park, and I'm sure you went by the park many, many times.
I certainly have. As I said, voice of sport here for many, many years, and it's a pleasure to have you with us.
Great to see you,
Fred
Heather.
Wallace in Game 4 tonight in Los Angeles, 8 o'clock Eastern. Fred will be back next hour, and we'll take a look at some of the highlights from that incredible game. Now, Jonathan Gatehouse isn't the only member of our CBC News team who's traveled from Toronto to be where we are in Owen Sound this morning. Linda Ward, where are you? Where are you? Right out here. I think Linda may have the best job because Linda gets, sorry, I've turned my back to you here. Linda gets to talk to all the people who are here with us this morning. Linda, good morning.
Good morning. I get to meet all these fine folks and, you know, let's go Blue Jays, right? Like they are, the spirit's not dampened this morning by last night's game for sure. And I've been trying to see if people are representing out here in the crowd this morning. Despite the early hour and the late end of that game, Heather, I did find one man here wearing his Blue Jays jersey. Come on over here, Jim. This is Jim Dinsmore. Jim, you stayed up until what time?
Till it was over. And 2:39 or whatever it was. After the 12th inning, you had to hang in there. You couldn't go to bed. So
yeah,
it was disappointing though to see the loss. But hey, we'll be back tonight.
The spirit's not dampened, as I say, and we even just had a drive-by cheering, somebody driving by yelling, "Let's go Blue Jays." So you've known Heather since she was how old?
About 16 when she won the Miss Teen pageant in Owen Sound. My brother Rob was the pageant director at that time, and we got to meet Heather and all the contestants at that time. And we've always, admired how far she has gone and what she has done.
It was important for you to be out here today, despite getting no sleep.
Despite getting no sleep, I thought it was important to show support for Heather when she comes home and, just welcome her into retirement. It's the best job I've ever had. So
there you go. That's quite the review for you there. Thanks very much. Appreciate you being here today and the crowd, Heather. Lots of fans for the Jays. Lots of fans of yours out here too. So we're going to be working the crowd here, talking to morning.
I see family members. I see high school friends. This is going to be a lot of fun, Linda. This is fantastic, and that's just great to see Jim. Family I was really close to in many years for very specific and unusual reasons, but wonderful reasons. So thanks for sharing those stories. And Linda, we'll talk to you a little bit later on in the hour. We are live here in Owen Sound, Ontario for a very special homecoming edition of CBC Morning Live.
a whole wall of Tom Thompsons. The bold colors, the broad strokes, the untamed beauty that feels so deeply Canadian. And in Owen Sound, deeply personal, because Tom Thompson was raised here, just outside the city in Leith, one of Canada's most iconic artists, shaped by this very landscape.
While some of his contemporaries were capturing the horrors of the First World War, Thompson turned to nature, not to escape the chaos, but to reflect, maybe even to resist. This exhibit, with the help of the Canadian War Museum and the McMichael Collection, explores that tension between war and wilderness, destruction and beauty, a dichotomy that still resonates today. Coming up, we have something very special. You're about to see two original Tom Thompsons that have never been shown in public before. They're being restored, and we're about to reveal them for the very first time on CBC Morning Live in Owen Sound. The Jack Pine and the West Wind. They're icons of Canadian culture and two of the most famous works from one of Canada's most influential and most popular artists, Tom Thompson. Tom Thompson grew up right here, just outside Owen Sound in Leith. And right now, in a workshop not far from his home, there's a team of specialists painstakingly restoring two Tom Thompson paintings that have never been shown publicly before. They were in a private collection for years, donated only recently to the Tom Thompson Art Gallery here. And this morning, we have the rare privilege of revealing them to you for the very first time. We're inside Georgian Bay Art Conservation. We're here to meet Amber Harwood, who's the specialist in restoration. Thank you for having us in. And we are here to see these. And I'm feeling a bit of a swell of Canadian pride looking at these, Amber. Explain these beautiful Tom Thompson originals.
Yes, we have two Tom Thompson paintings here that have never been viewed in public exhibition before.
Just pause on that. These were in private collection, so they have never been seen publicly before. This is a real exclusive moment, and that's it's pretty exciting. They've come to you because of your specialty, and you've been restoring them.
Yes.
What have you done to this one, first of all?
Well, we've been working towards restoration so that they can be viewed as Tom had originally painted them. And over the course of time, they just age, and things can happen to them. So this first painting here has been mostly restored. So the varnish has been removed, little areas of loss have been in-painted, and it's been revarnished. So the original color profiles are now apparent.
So it is classic northern scene angry sky, a little bit of blue there, beautiful. And then so you've done that on the surface, but what is behind?
So behind this, though, something very interesting was revealed. So when we first started with the restoration, this had a partial paper backing glued down to the back side. And when we removed that, what we revealed was the name, the title of the piece, which is Gray Day. We also revealed the date, which is 1913, and there's a collection stamp, an address, which is just down the road in Leith, from our studio here.
And that would have been?
So, and this here are numbers that indicate different pieces that he had painted and perhaps indicate how he wanted them exhibited at one time.
That's incredible. So gray morning?
Gray day.
Gray day. Flip that over again, never been seen before. Beautiful. And this was a typical format for him, I believe, just, you know, sort of an 8 by 10.
Yes, the tiny size, the small size was for utility's sake. Because Tom spent days or weeks in the Canadian wilderness creating these pieces, they needed to be tiny so they were easily transportable.
He did about 400, I was reading, in that sort of format. Now this one you're actually working on.
Yes, so this one is partway through restoration. It is in excellent condition for being over 110 years old. And interestingly enough, this piece here is on a wood panel and it was an orange crate. So Tom is known to repurpose materials, found materials, to actually paint on.
An orange crate cut into that size, and then the cloud, I mean, just the distinctive brush strokes that we have come to know and love. And you've been obviously, maybe we can show the process here. We can see what you've done so far in that corner, but explain how you go about your work.
So this piece here, I have started to remove some of the resin, natural resin varnish. And so we're starting to reveal the colors that he had used in his painting, where on this side, the varnish is still there, and you can see that it's yellowed and darkened, and that obscures the color profiles. So by removing that yellowed varnish and revarnishing again,
it'll come right back to where it will. Now your expertise comes in because you have to formulate what you're going to take off properly.
This is exciting.
It is exciting. So what do you use then?
So careful testing is done, and I have done that to figure out which chemical formulation is going to work well to remove the varnish layer but have no impact on the oil paint below.
That is exactly what you want to avoid.
Yes.
Yes.
So here, I'm going to make a cotton swab, and I will dip it into the solution for the varnish removal, and that gets applied to the surface very lightly.
It is painstaking, isn't it? Very precise.
And I like to be up close and viewing it under magnification, just so I can keep an eye on what's occurring on the surface and to make sure that I am lifting all the varnish. But here, you can see...
Oh my goodness, what comes off. Yes.
That is the dark resin varnish on the end of my swab that has been lifted.
And that you'll do over the whole work?
Yes. The entire surface will be
painstaking for sure. As you do this, Amber, I mean, how does it feel to be bringing something back to life, something so precious back to life?
Well, it's my job and it's my passion to work on these pieces so that they can be enjoyed by the public, by whoever owns them, in the way that the artist intended. And careful thought and attention is put into all the decisions that go into the restoration process so that we're mindful of artist intent, so we're not removing too much or obscuring some of the meaning behind that. So,
what a thing to then see it in a gallery hanging and know that you've made that possible, that people are seeing this for the very first time. Beautiful. So as a fellow Owen Sound woman, is it a point of pride for you that Tom Thompson is from this area?
It is. And to have the opportunity to see and work up close on one of his pieces, well, two of his pieces. It's It's an honor to be able to do that. Yeah.
It's an honor to be able to see them. Thank you for sharing what you're doing here with us.
You're very welcome.
Amber, loan me your glasses. And looking at Tom Thompson's brushstrokes under magnification is something I will not soon forget. What a story behind those pieces. They've been hanging on the wall of a cottage. The donor delivered them to the art gallery wrapped in tea towels in a drugstore bag, not realizing their worth, which is, of course, hundreds of thousands of dollars, or their cultural significance. Soon, though, there will be 2 new works gracing the permanent collection at the beautiful Tom Thompson Art Gallery, which is 1 street over this way at First Avenue East in Owen Sound. You're watching special homecoming coverage. This is CBC Morning Live. We are in Owen Sound, Ontario. Good morning, everyone. As we take a look with our jib camera at our setup here on 2nd Avenue East, we're right in front of City Hall on the main street of Owen Sound. 1 block over on 3rd Avenue East is a building that houses a very special organization. You know, the homeless situation in Owen Sound and in the region of Grey County has become more dire in recent years. Many of the people who are the most vulnerable, who need the most help, are turning to O'Share. It's a very, as I mentioned, a very important agency providing meals, but not just meals, beyond that. And Linda Ward is here to talk about how it's expanding beyond a meal service.
Yeah.
Welcome back.
Thank you. Yeah, so yesterday I was down at O'Share and I was meeting all the people, learning all about this program. And what I learned is that that, while they were handing out those meals, they found out that there was another need in the community, and it had to do with the medical care that people that they were serving needed. Of course, there's no walk-in clinic in Owen Sound, one of many communities in Ontario where there is no walk-in clinic. So they decided to open a bit of a medical space and bring in, nurses, nurse practitioners, paramedics, and then a doctor came forward and said that she wanted to access that space in order to be able to provide primary care to people who didn't have access to that. So I got to meet the doctor yesterday, I got to interview her, and I got to meet a couple of patients too, and here's how that went.
I will take that off. It's a little bit up, so we'll want to have a chat about that afterwards. But I'm Dr. Cox. I'm a family doctor in Owen Sound, and I also do outreach through the O'Share Clinic here today. Sometimes we're seeing wound care, issues with housing support, living on the street. Definitely in the winter can be a really challenging time. But then it's also people who just don't have access to traditional medicine.
I came here from the Windsor area, and we both had our doctor there for many, many years, like 25 years. We've each had the same doctor. And then when we came up here, it's way different. There's no physicians available, none accepting new patients. And so we were directed here. We've had nothing but good results, quick results, and yeah.
I really enjoy this type of work. It fills my cup, so to speak. I think it's a Canadian belief that everyone deserves health care.
It's nice to get to know the doctor that's looking after you, rather than getting bounced around. No, I think other than that,
you're doing well?
Yeah, doing all right.
Good.
Really appreciate your help.
Tina and Rennie are in the audience here today as well, so they came out to see you, Heather. This is a great program, and it's so much needed that they actually even have a lineup some days when the doctor's in and some of the other practitioners lining up outside the door to get some help.
They also have 2 markets, as they're known.
Yeah, they're not selling anything at these markets. But these are markets where they open it up in the morning to families, in the afternoon on Wednesdays to homeless, vulnerable individuals in order to be able to reach them where they are and be able to connect them with services. So whether you need access to, a new form of ID, or you need a place to stay, or you're looking for a meal, whatever that is, they can go around, they can meet up with all the people that are coming into that market to provide those services. So it really is a very multifaceted approach, and we're going to tell you more about what they're doing. I know it sounds impossible that they could be doing more. They are doing more. Incredible. We'll have more on that.
You can see why it's such an important part of the community. What we have, we will share is their motto, and we'll look forward to learning more about O'Share in a moment. Linda's going to appreciate our next guest because Linda's is a dance family. Her daughter is a very accomplished Irish dancer, correct? Right? When I was growing up here in Owen Sound, this city was home to a famous school for Highland dance that produced a 4-time world champion. I remember that so well. The Hot Dance Troupe now is a youth contemporary dance company called the Wildflower Dancers, and they are here to perform for us this morning. I'd like to tell you a little bit more about my Owen Sound. Its rich marine history, the jewel of Georgian Bay still docks here for the winter, its agricultural heritage, its key role in the civil rights story of this country, and its heroes. Billy Bishop was born here. Tom Thompson was raised just outside of town. But I'll also tell you how it shaped my story. I grew up in a simpler time, afforded every opportunity by my parents and guided by excellent teachers and community leaders. My teenage years were marked by a singular event. In 1981, when I was 16, I was chosen Miss Teen Canada. The whole region celebrated, and my life changed. The local radio station, CFOS, sponsored me, and at the end of my year offered me a part-time job as an announcer. I wasn't even out of high school, but there I was, spinning discs, reading hog reports, and loving it. Suddenly, this aspiring law student was studying journalism instead. I know much has changed here in the 43 years since. We'll discuss that this morning. But the natural beauty hasn't, nor has the warmth of the people. I'm grateful for the interest and support this community has always shown me. I'm always proud of my Owen Sound roots. I always try to make Owen Sound proud. So on this final stop of our cross-country tour, it feels right to celebrate here, in my hometown. Thank you. Welcome home, Heather. I appreciate that. I appreciate the audience that's come for our program today. I was mentioning the excellent teachers I had throughout my schooling year, and I think of my elementary years. I think of Mrs. Passmore and Mrs. Morris, Mr. Wilkins, my science teacher, Mr. Gebert. That lesson in copepods and ostracota I have never forgotten. But if I was to ask the students at Hillcrest Public School, who is a favorite teacher, I'm thinking I hear a lot of Mrs. Colburns. Am I right in that, Phoenix? Might I hear that? This is Mrs. Colburn. This is Hillary Colburn, who's a teacher at Hillcrest, which I attended, as a matter of fact, until grade 4. And she's invited Phoenix Whitfield, who's in grade 8. Welcome to you, too. Thanks for coming today.
Thank you for having
She's
us.
a favorite. She's also a force. Mrs. Colburn, Hillary Colburn, organized a few years ago the Youth Action Climate Conference. This is its 4th year. It's going on today, and they're giving us some time beforehand. But the origin story, this is amazing. This goes back to when you were on mat leave. There has to be an excellent story there.
It's the pressing issue of our time, and an organized teacher on a year leave sometimes wants to collaborate and get to know community members. And I just thought, if we can bring together mover maker changers that can inspire kids, and kids can then inspire us to take action in our community, we'd be really fortunate to have a place to bring kids together to do that.
I'm impressed, because I would imagine you would have been pretty busy during those months of the mat leave, and you were thinking of these larger issues and bringing them to bear. So as I mentioned, this is the 4th year for the Climate Conference. What goes on there? It's grown to the point of it's being at the Bayshore Community Center, which is, I'm sure, very exciting. But what do you do there, and who attends?
My goodness, so we have over 230 attendees today.
Amazing.
124 kids from 24 different schools across Saugeen Ojibwe Nation territory, or Grey Bruce. We have dignitaries from city councillors to both Saugeen Ojibwe Nation chiefs will be there. We have over 70 volunteers and a core team of about 7 incredible humans that are from Grey County and the Sustainability Project. From Learning for a Sustainable Future, LSF, and incredible partners and funders that have made this happen. But it's all about the kids, and we leave going, okay, kids, so you're learning these workshops, you're learning some skills throughout the day from experts in our community. What are these action projects that we can support you with thereafter?
So this is the key to all of this. There are workshops and learning opportunities in the day, and then there are projects to come. You attended last year, Phoenix. Tell me a little bit about what you learned last year.
Well, last year, a few of the things I've learned were... Oh, sorry.
You're doing fantastically. It's a funny thing to be on television. Just look at me. Those guys, just look at me. They're not even nice.
You got
we want to
this.
hear from Phoenix, don't we?
What was one of the workshops that you loved?
One of the workshops I did last year that was a lot of fun was learning that we could pick things off of the ground that we could then be reused for art. Like, for example, like clay and mud. We put them together into like a crayon that we were then able to use them to draw on like a piece of paper. And then we were able to use like dandelions as markers or paint to draw. And
so these were in the workshops at the summit last year, and you're going back again this year, right?
Yeah.
To learn more about this kind of thing. So there's the learning, and then of course at the end of the day, as you say, it's all well and good to spend a couple of hours learning about things, but the key aspect to your summit is what are the projects? What are the actions you're going to take?
Right. So we have a workshop framework that we have facilitators guiding each of the different school groups for an hour in the afternoon, and we look at what brings you joy, what is your superpower or a skill that you have, and where do you want to ignite change in the community? And that formula brings kids to a place of being able to come up with an action project that might be starting a garden that doesn't exist at their school and having community members come and be active in that. It might be planting a tiny forest. It could be working with the city, Grey County, the school board on certain climate action plans and working on things that already are in the works with community members, but having students really be a great push in that. So they each leave with a mentor. So Phoenix, you'll have a mentor. They'll stay in touch with Hillcrest. And our goal is that we have not just a one-day event, but this is a spark that ignites big change.
From here, and have you seen, this is year 4, in the years previous, have you seen change, concrete action come from what you've organized?
Absolutely, absolutely. And the kids are going to get to see some of those projects today. Yeah, every single year we have kids either getting on the radio talking about their project that they're doing. We've had several tiny forests planted.
Yeah, there was a lot of tree planting. What was your project last year?
Oh, well, last year we did 2 of them. We restarted a compost program at our school. So each classroom has like a bucket, and all their like food waste they put in there, and each week we go around and we collect it and we throw it in our composters that then we use for soil for our garden bed at our school. And it's just very helpful, so not all of it's going into the garbage. And we also started bird houses and bird feeders. So each class, we got donated a few of them, and each class got to paint one. And some of them are on our front fence, and the other ones are in the trees in our yard.
So there's a great idea. Phoenix is in grade 8. Why do you think it's important to get to young people at this stage, senior years of elementary school, to tell them about this, to get them engaged in doing projects? Why is that the important point to reach them in life?
I think, for a kid of any age, if we can connect with our natural world, then we're able to protect it. But grade 6, 7, 8s have this ability to be really connected, I think, with their peer group. They're forming those incredibly strong relationships, but they're not in a stage where they're independent completely from their family. They're sitting around the table still a lot more. They're perhaps doing longer road trips with family that they can talk about these community programs that they're doing, that they can take action on. And then we have them in the community for another 4 years of high school, so we can continue to hopefully have these inspiring projects continue.
But they're counting on you to build these projects this year. Save the planet, obviously. You've been motivated for this for some time, Phoenix. Thank you for coming to be my guest. And Mrs. Colburn, thank you very much. I have to let you go. You have a very big day in store.
We're pretty
over
excited.
At the base. I bet for good reason. Ladies and gentlemen, doing some very important good work in your community, Hillary Colburn, Phoenix Whitfield from Hillcrest School. Thank you very much. This is CBC Morning Live, and we are live in Owen Sound. We're checking back with Chris Murphy once again. Our forecast, of course, but also landfall is approaching, isn't it, Chris? It's getting ever closer. Hurricane Melissa to Jamaica this morning.
It is. The latest has come out from the National Hurricane Center, Heather. 90 kilometers south of Negril, Jamaica. So it is getting closer. The tropical storm force winds extend from the center over 300 kilometers. The hurricane force winds, the real damaging winds, about 45 kilometers from the center. So you see, there's that's the eye is the gentle part. The eye wall is the most ferocious part. So that is now getting very close to Jamaica, moving northeastwards, northeast at 11 kilometers per hour, 280 kilometer an hour winds. Oh, just taking a look so far, some of the peak winds in Kingston and Montego Bay have been over 90 kilometers per hour. Again, this is going to get stronger because the storm is approaching. So winds could get close to 300 kilometer an hour gusts, especially over the higher terrain. Rainfall potentially, half a meter to a meter worth of rain. Storm surge 3 to 4 meters above the ground level. That means flooding, coastal flooding, and obviously infrastructure damage, and power and communication outages perhaps for weeks. So this is certainly going to be very, very terrible. There's your landfalling and strongest winds coming in today, and then likely still a major hurricane into eastern Cuba come tomorrow morning, and then into the Bahamas later on Wednesday, and then we'll have to keep a close eye on where it goes from there. So along with the destructive winds and storm surge, life-threatening flooding and landslides. So this is very significant. Southern areas of Hispaniola, eastern Cuba, but obviously today, and the worst hit will be Jamaica because it's getting the storm at its absolute apex. Now, this storm will unlikely make landfall in Atlantic Canada, but some of that moisture is going to get steered in from a low pressure system that will bring rain to southern Ontario and Quebec a little bit later this week. For now, still getting some rain along the eastern shore of Nova Scotia, Cape Breton, some moderate rain in Sydney, and some showers along the southern Burin and southern Avalon Peninsula this morning. 7 in St. John's today, 9 in Moncton, Halifax off and on rain, 11 degrees from Toronto right up to Owen Sound, Montreal, Ottawa, around 11 degrees. That rain tapers off in Nova Scotia today, and then pretty quiet until there's your storm system coming in. So rain begins Thursday in the lower Great Lakes, and it may last until trick-or-treating with the heavier rain moving to eastern Ontario, Quebec, and into Atlantic Canada. So there you go, Owen Sound. Heather, of course, bringing you the warm, the sunnier weather today. It's cool this morning, but otherwise pleasant. Rain showers between Winnipeg and Kenora northwards. Snow showers around Fort McMurray to Lake Athabasca, and there's our next storm system into BC with strong winds beginning before lunch hour in the north coast down to the Strait of Georgia, and along with it, periods of heavy rain.
Okay, another question for you. Another question. Did you have a teacher who had a particular impact on you when you were at school?
Oh, yes, Heather, several.
Favorite teacher?
Can I name them?
Yes.
All right. I would say my two wrestling coaches. Yeah, if I may now, Mr. Capito and Mr. Curtis. They were my two wrestling coaches, and absolutely, I just loved them. Yes.
That's fantastic. Everyone has, they can make such a huge difference. Well, you think when you, in Owen Sound, think of music, the name Bert Hood comes to mind. I had him at Strathcona, which is no longer existing, but he created wonderful opportunities for students with a keen interest in music, just as David Melito is doing right now at OSDSS, Owen Sound District Secondary School. There he is, Mr. Melito, and he is here with the school's jazz ensemble. They are performing this time. Nice welcome for Mr. Melito and the jazz ensemble, Duke Ellington's Caravan on CBC Morning Live. choosing to work as a journalist often means accepting to live as a nomad. I've moved across much of this country for jobs, to Halifax, Montreal, Hamilton, London, Toronto several times. I have beautiful memories of each place. But this place holds special meaning. Owen Sound, Ontario. It's my hometown. So as I bring this cross-country tour and my CBC career to an end, it feels right to return to the place where the journalism journey began. As they say, there's no place like home to celebrate, and that's what we've been doing this morning, haven't we? Fantastic crowd that's been with us since 6 o'clock Eastern, and you're going to meet some of the special guests we have over the course of this hour. We have live music for you, good food coming up, community leaders, inspiring change makers. You'll meet them all today. But first, there is breaking news out of Jamaica. The island nation prepares to take a direct hit from Hurricane Melissa. The Category 5 storm is striking the coastline right now, and Jamaica's Prime Minister warns it could soon overwhelm the country's infrastructure.
Pray that this hurricane does not hit us directly.
Several people are already confirmed dead in Jamaica, Haiti, and the Dominican Republic. Chris Murphy is tracking the storm closely for us. One UN agency is describing it as the storm of the century. Breaking this morning, Alberta invokes the notwithstanding clause to order teachers back to work. The move ends a 3-week strike that kept about 750,000 students out of the classroom.
This is a unique strike. We've never had 51,000 workers off the job at the same time.
We'll have the latest reaction, including from the teachers' union that is now planning to launch a legal challenge. And the Blue Jays stumble at the finish line of a World Series marathon. Toronto falls to the Dodgers in the bottom of the 18th.
High fly to center. Varsho back. Game over.
We're going to hear from Jays fans who were there in LA at Dodger Stadium, and we'll talk baseball once again this hour with a very familiar voice of sports radio here in Owen Sound. So good morning once again. It is Tuesday, October 28th. This is a special edition of Morning Live. Extra special edition, if I might say, because we're in my hometown, Owen Sound, Ontario. Let's say good morning again to my very enthusiastic audience. We have shut down the main street in front of City Hall. We have guests aplenty, a fantastic crowd, even at this early hour, even though many people stayed up right through until the end of that baseball game last night or early this morning. So we'll bring you all of that to come. But we're keeping a very close eye on a dangerous situation in Jamaica, and that's where we're going to start the hour. As we look live at the latest pictures coming in from Jamaica's capital, we have two views of all of this. This is Kingston, Hurricane Melissa powering its way toward land. On the left of your screen, this is Kingston Harbor, and you can see Melissa churning up those waters. On the right, that's a downtown city street, practically deserted as people brace for that monster storm. Now, Melissa is set to make landfall this morning as a Category 5 hurricane. That's the most powerful category, and this is considered the most powerful storm on the planet this year. It's packing sustained winds of up to 280 kilometers an hour. Jamaica could see up to 76 centimeters of rain and storm surges reaching as high as 4 meters. This is video from Kingston earlier yesterday as the massive storm was moving in, already bringing wind and rain. Mandatory evacuation orders are in effect for Jamaica's vulnerable coastal areas. The U.S. National Hurricane Center has warned Melissa could cause catastrophic flash flooding and multiple landslides. The storm is already being blamed for 7 deaths so far, 3 in Jamaica, 4 others in Haiti and in the Dominican Republic. Now, this view really gives you the sense of the size of this storm. Dramatic satellite footage. And as you can see, as you look at the screen, you can see at the top right-hand corner, that is the outline of Jamaica. So you get a full view of the sheer size of this storm as it approaches. And again, it is expected to pass northward across Jamaica over the course of today and then onward to Cuba, set to hit there tomorrow morning. Chris Murphy is keeping very close watch on things for us over at the Weather Network. He will join us later this hour with the very latest on Hurricane Melissa. The next story this morning has been on the minds of Owen Sounders for over 2 years. Sharif Rahman owned the Curry House. That's a restaurant just about 2 blocks from where we are right now. And this is a picture of the man who died more than 2 years ago. Well respected in Owen Sound, and not just because of his food. Very community-minded and a tremendous degree of giving back. Since he was killed in August of 2023, the community has been seeking answers, which finally arrived in the form of a CBC News investigation. Our senior investigative reporter, Jonathan Gatehouse, has traveled from Toronto to us here in Owen Sound to share the latest he has learned. Good morning, Jonathan, and thank you for being here.
Thank you, Heather. Good morning. Yes, this is a story, obviously a tragedy in this community, but a story that reverberated across the country and even overseas, all the way across the Atlantic. And that's because, as you mentioned, one of the issues here is that people weren't getting a lot of information, not from the police, not from the courts. And in fact, we had to go and find a court file hidden in a Scottish court before we were able to piece together the allegations of what was said to have happened that night.
For 2 years, these photos have been the only glimpse of the men accused in the death of Owen Sound restaurant owner Sharif Rahman. That is, until now. Building on documents filed in a foreign court, a CBC News investigation has verified images of the 3 men, a father, son, and an uncle. In August 2023, a group of men dining at the Curry House allegedly tried to duck out on a $150 bill. That's when Rahman gave chase. Witnesses say he was felled by a single punch, his head hitting the pavement. He died in hospital a week later, leaving behind his wife and young daughter and a shaken, sorrowful community. Robert Evans Jr. is charged with manslaughter. His father, Robert Evans Sr., and uncle, Barry Evans, are each charged as accessories after the fact. According to court documents, Evans Jr. and Sr. entered Canada on valid UK passports with fake names. They didn't have work visas, but police say they were operating a cash-only business called Total Paving and were doing jobs in Owen Sound in mid-August. The 911 call for an assault in progress came in at 9:23 p.m. When officers arrived, they found Rahman lying on the pavement, unresponsive with critical injuries. According to police, it was Evans Jr. who threw the punch that killed him. Evans Jr. left Canada on a flight from Toronto to London the next day, the rest of the family following on separate planes. UK authorities received the arrest warrants in March 2024. It took them months to track the trio down in Edinburgh, Scotland. All 3 have been in custody ever since and will now be extradited to Canada.
So that is reporting from Jonathan Gatehouse. And again, you have obviously uncovered so much, you and the investigative team, but there's so much that we yet don't know.
Yeah, that's right, Heather. I mean, one of the mysteries here still is what these gentlemen were doing in Edinburgh, Scotland. In fact, they all live near Manchester, which is several hundred kilometers to the south. And the other thing is, what lengths the police in the UK had to go to track them down. The arrest warrants in Canada were sworn out in March of 2024, but the arrests didn't happen until July and October.
You mentioned some in your reporting, but what have you learned about their activities in Canada leading up to that terrible night?
So the details in the file gave us some sense of the police allegations of what they were up to, but there are still other things to learn. For instance, the time that they were in Canada, the police have said that they entered the country, the father and the son, on falsified UK passports, but we don't know how they obtained those documents. Similarly with the cash-only paving business they're alleged to have been running here in Canada. We do know that in the past, police have issued warnings about traveling UK-based paving scams, not just here in Canada, but also in the US, in Europe, even further afield in places like Australia and New Zealand. But we don't know if their business was connected to that type of activity. And also we should mention, of course, that the charges they are facing concern the death of Sharif Rahman, not their business activities.
You're obviously continuing to probe this as part of the investigative unit at CBC News. More to learn, and Jonathan will be back with us in our final hour of the program next hour, but thank you so very much for this. Let's take you to the breaking news out of Alberta next. The Alberta government passed a bill in the early hours of this morning ending the 3-week-long teacher strike. The province introduced the legislation yesterday using the notwithstanding clause to shield it from legal challenges. The move is being criticized by many. Some call it an assault on workers' rights.
This is not a war that we chose, but make no mistake, this government has declared war on working people, not just in this province, but across the country.
The legislation forces teachers back to work as early as tomorrow, Wednesday, and imposes as well a 4-year collective contract. The Alberta Teachers Association issued a statement this morning saying they plan to challenge the bill. 51,000 teachers walked off the job earlier this month following a contract dispute centered on wages and on classroom conditions. It was an epic game, one to remember, very nearly a record, 6 hours, 39 minutes, 18 innings. Anybody here watch right to the end of the game? I thought you might have. I know this is a baseball city, but that was a little bit extreme, wasn't it? If you went to bed, though, and you happened to miss how it ended, this is the moment it came crashing to an end for the Jays.
Center, Varsho back, game over. Freddie Freeman walks it off with a home run to straightaway center field. The Dodgers win it, and they take a 2-1 lead in the World Series.
So much disappointment for Jays fans and, of course, for the Jays, the players themselves. It was Freddie Freeman. There's the extra salt in the wound, the Canadian, with the walk-off home run in the 18th. Brendan Little on the mound, giving that one up. He was in his second inning of work. And this is what Blue Jays fans who were in Dodger Stadium said as they left.
When that ball came off the bat there, for sure we knew that was going pretty deep, but you know, he's Freddie Freeman. What are you going to do? So thanks very much. Yeah.
The only good thing about tonight's game was we got two games for one ticket. That's all that mattered. But yeah, it was a disappointing loss.
We've been here a few days now, and we've been in pubs, and we've been now in the stadium. The Dodgers fans are amazing. They are so... They are so classy. They are classy. And it's been a great experience being here with them.
Yeah. Where you guys came from.
So that was Los Angeles. This was the scene in Toronto. The Rogers Centre hosted a huge watch party and, yes, stayed this crowd right into the wee hours of the morning. It ended just before 3 o'clock Eastern, as I said, 6 hours, 39 minutes of play. What an extraordinary match for so many reasons. We have a very special guest this morning handling all of our Jays coverage. He's been the voice of sports for radio listeners in the region for a generation. He is Mr. Owen Sound, someone I have been very privileged to work with over the decades. Could we say another good morning, everybody, to Fred Wallace? Beloved in this community for sure, and doing a fantastic job for us.
Well, I was beloved, and then Cubby showed up, so I'm second fiddle. So
that's a surprise guest. He's coming in.
Okay.
Fred's just blown the surprise. No, there he is. There he is, waiting in the wings.
Can I just say this about Cubby? Very much an Owen Sound aspect. When we do the national anthem at attack games, Cubby comes onto the ice, whether it's a choir or an individual singer or a band, and Cubby will sign the national anthem, and it's just just, it just makes a difference.
Fantastic. We're going to talk about Cubby because we're going to talk about, here he is here. Cubby's going to join us on stage.
There you go.
Cubby wants to join in our Jays coverage. Hello, Cubby.
Hi, Cubby.
Hi,
Can you say hello and sign to Heather? Tell her how much we respect and are happy for Heather. There we are.
Ah, that's fantastic.
There we go.
Cubby's not alone. Cubby has a couple of attack players, including one who wears the C, coming up, and we're going to meet them in a little bit. But Cubby, I'm going to put Fred into service. Is that okay? Fred has been telling us all about the Jays and that disappointment after 18 innings, but what a show from Los Angeles, and particularly from Shohei Ohtani.
Boy, I think the fan said it right, that you got two games, and you got so many twists and turns. Roller coaster would be an example. Teeter-totter would be an example. There's the home run by Shohei Ohtani, that one of his 2 home runs in the game. Alejandro Kirk for Toronto, he blasted a 3-run homer, so it was an up-and-down game. The Dodgers led it 2-0. The former Jay, Teoscar Hernandez, had a home run in the early going. Ohtani hit a home run here, as you're seeing, and there's Alejandro Kirk. And this gave the Jays a 3-2.
We call him Alejandro Kirk on our morning tour.
Okay.
We like Kirk, and he set records with that. I mean, his RBIs, crazy RBI numbers.
And he makes it 3-2 at that point. Okay. Jays would be up 4-2. There were great defensive plays. So it was just a marvelous ball game. Unfortunately for Jays fans, they're down 2-1, Heather, but we have another game coming up in 12 hours.
So what will the keys, with Ohtani pitching, we need to say, that's going to be something to watch. What do you think will be the keys to getting back into this thing, to evening it up?
I think for Toronto, be healthy. Alejandro Kirk was pulled for a pinch hitter last night, and there was some suggestion that he's not 100%. Bo Bichette is definitely not 100%. George Springer had to come out of the game because he was injured in the game, so his status for tonight,
too, isn't
it? He's such a key player. And so from that standpoint, if the Jays are healthy and ready to go, and I'm sure they're ready to go, this could be another marvelous ball game tonight, Heather.
It sounds like it'll be a great one. 8 o'clock, 2-1, the Dodgers leading in that best-of-7 series. Now, something came in here while we've been on the air, a picture of one of our viewers. Do you know about this? Mike
Bravener.
Yes, Mike Bravener holding his great-grandpa's baseball glove. I was asking Fred about Owen Sound, and it's a big baseball community, but he used this as a picture playing for the Owen Sound baseball team that you were referring to.
The Bay Sox are the current team, so I'm not sure whether it would be...
That's definitely not the current.
Yeah. Well, and you grew up with the Grays, Heather, in Owen Sound. You knew all the Grays, and now we're the Attack, and we were the Platers in between, and there were the Downtowners and the Mercuries, and there's a lot of sports team history here. So I'm not sure exactly what I'm not sure exactly what ball team that glove was for, but I don't think any of the Bay Sox wear it.
No, probably not now. So, yeah, the Downtowners, that was the first hockey game I ever went to. I remember it so very well. But 1989, the Attack came as the Platers from Guelph. 2000, they became the Attack. And you were the voice of the team for the whole time, right? Until 2023, when you retired. 2011 must have been a highlight.
Oh, it was tremendous. And when we talk about 2011, Heather, you still get a chill with that goal by Jared Maidens that gave Owen Sound their first OHL championship, and hopefully the guys that you're going to have on here will bring us another one this spring.
I'm pretty sure they're coming up next. Fred, thank you. It's been a real pleasure.
This is terrific. Hey,
honestly,
I know
thank you.
This isn't protocol,
that's okay.
We're very happy.
That's all right. Thank you so much. I really appreciate it. Fred, but we're going to do something fun over here, aren't we?
Yes. And we have a surprise coming for you as well.
Oh, fantastic. We're going to do a little simulcast with the local radio station, which I haven't done in many, many decades, so that will be fun a little bit later on this hour. Okay, mentioning Fred as we were the Attack, you saw Cubby. I want to bring in Linda Ward because I'm not sure if Cubby's with you now. Linda, is that where that has moved to? Linda is with. Whoa, you need a ladder, Linda. This is hilarious.
Well, I guess that I have, Heather, not as furry as Cubby, but they certainly are tall, at least compared to me. I have the real deal here, the Owen Sound Attack. So we have Captain David Bedkowski, assistant coach Reagan O'Grady, and Carter George, goalie. So great to have you guys here with us today. We've been talking a lot about the great start that Heather got in her career here, 17 years old and taking on the airwaves. For you guys, with your hockey career, starting out here in Owen Sound, what has Owen Sound meant to you? We'll start with you, David.
A ton. I've been a big city kid all my life. I played in Oshawa before I got traded to Owen Sound here last year, and The experience has been incredible, every second of it. I love it here. I'm from Toronto. I live there in the summer, but Owen Sound's my home, and it's just got that small town pride. And you look at the crowd that showed up this morning, it's a testament to that. And hopefully we can bring a championship to the city that they so deserve, and the support that we get is incredible from them.
Regan joining this group just last year, but you've been in hockey for a long time, assistant coach now. What does this, hockey means a lot to this town, I know. What are you learning about being a coach here in Owen Sound?
Well, I just think, obviously, you look at the team last year, a team that kind of scratched and clawed their way to get to playoffs. And from kind of January on, it was a packed building in front of our players. And for us, it's just a matter of, continuing to show the love and support for our community. Events like this, coming out, being an advocate for the city, giving the young kids a place to look up to and something to strive towards. And, just seeing the building be rocking every single day. I know there's going to be 3,000 loud kids tomorrow, but our guys are going to love it. And, I think just obviously my first coaching experience in the OHL, and super grateful to be here, even just to be recognized around the city, whether that's the grocery store, or it's out for dinners, all the kind words. I think at last year at one point, we were the last place team in the Ontario Hockey League, and they loved the hard work and the effort that the guys showed day in and day out. And that's kind of the blue collar town that we live in. And just, forever grateful, like David said, this is home, and just super thankful to everybody of all the support throughout the last year. And we're destined to go on a deep run here come April, May, and obviously bring a championship back to this great city.
Ooh, I think this crowd's going to hold you to that. Okay, we got to hear from Carter here, because you part of the World Junior team last year. You brought a lot of pride to this town. Give us a sense of what playing for Owen Sound is like for you.
Yeah, it's meant the world to me. Coming here at 16, moving away from home, they've been nothing but welcoming to me. My billet family, the fans, the community, it's been awesome. And a small town kid coming to another small town, it was awesome, and definitely made the transition easier. And I'm so thankful that I got to be able to play at a place so special like Owen Sound.
Great to meet you guys. I'm sure Cubby's going to be making the rounds here, Heather, very soon. But, I know you follow hockey pretty closely, so I'm pretty sure you've got good tabs on these guys here playing with your hometown.
Linda, that is fantastic. Thank you, Linda. Thank you to the Attack. Just fantastic. 29th captain for the team with us. There are 7 former Attack players on NHL rosters this season. There have been more than 50 that have made the NHL over the team's history. It's a very successful franchise. It means a whole lot to the community. And, of course, they play in the Harry Lumley Bayshore Community Center, named after a great NHLer, Apple Cheeks, as he was known, born here, came here after he retired. So it's a real tribute to him as well. And we think about hockey. It's such an important part of life in Owen Sound, Ontario. Where's Cubby? Give us a wave one more time. Hi, Cubby. Cubby, thank you for coming with your team. It's been great to have Cubby here as well. Okay, so let's take you back to 1980 for this next one. If you know the dance moves in the audience, if you know these dance moves, feel free. You can join in. You can channel your inner Jake or Elwood blues. It'll help you stay warm this morning. You can do it at home as well. The OSDSS Jazz Band with Shake a Tail Feather.
You're watching CBC.
Thank you, Saskia and Cubby, with us right on the main street of Owen Sound. You know, a little bit down that way, in that direction, a couple of kilometers, is one of Owen Sound's top attractions, Harrison Park. It's an urban dream, 40 hectares of green space right in the heart of the city. In a quiet corner of the park is a cairn, a stone memorial to Owen Sound's first black settlers, many of whom were escaped slaves from the United States. This city was the northernmost terminus for the Underground Railway. Local artist Bonita Johnson de Mateus has a direct family connection. She designed the cairn, and she shared its story with me.
Owen Sound was the northernmost terminus of the Underground Railroad. So it was appropriate that we should mark it, that we are here and we're still here. I was inspired by this design to express the success of the folks that made it up here. Their success was being able to establish church, home, and safety. So I thought the cornerstone is the strongest angle ever. And the windows are replicas out of the Little Zion Church, which was the first black church in Owen Sound on the banks of the Sydenham River. It commemorates all the families, the historic black families up here in the Owen Sound area. I could name them all, but it's to let the world know that we existed, we still exist. I'm a descendant of the black families here in Owen Sound. That my great-grandfather grew up on Negro Creek Road, and my grandmother was from Shallow Lake in that area. And I'm a mixed baby. My grandmother was also a mixed woman. There's a lot of mixed marriages up in this area. So in that point alone, I felt personally it's very important that people know who I am. My children know what their history is. Because it can be erased.
The exact number of slaves and freedmen who escaped to Owen Sound isn't known, but there were many, and they contributed mightily to the growth of the city, especially to farming and to manufacturing. That history is celebrated every year on the first weekend of August. Owen Sound hosts a huge Emancipation Day festival and picnic to mark the abolition of slavery. It's been going on since 1862, which makes it the longest continuously running emancipation celebration in North America. With us in Owen Sound for this special homecoming edition of CBC Morning Live, the Wildflower Dancers. They're part of the Owen Sound Dance Academy. They're back to dance, this time to music by Arden Forrest. As is the case in many Canadian cities, the homeless situation in Owen Sound and in the region of Grey County has become more dire in recent years. Many of the people who are the most vulnerable, who need the most help when it comes to food, turn to O'Share. And Linda has been sharing that story with us this morning. It's interesting, the agency, Linda, has seen the greatest increase in terms of the number of families who need assistance.
Yeah, and the numbers are staggering. They say that they saw 12 families. Last year, 300 is what they're serving now, which is just such a huge exponential increase that they actually had to create a whole program that was just to serve families. Because what they were finding was that families were coming in and taking part in the meal program, but that was difficult for them. There are kids who have to do homework. They have to be at home. So they started giving out these hampers to families in the community so that they could go home and they could make meals in their very own kitchens for their families. And I got to see a little bit of that when I toured the kitchen yesterday, and here's what we saw.
Yeah, so June 2024, we started to notice an increase in families lining up for our community meal program. And obviously, we knew that we couldn't help families the best that way. And so within a couple weeks, we actually started our family meal program. So what we do is we pack boxes of fresh produce, everything families need for school lunches, including lunch meat and cheese and yogurt and everything they need. And then we take all our leftovers and package them up for frozen casseroles. The reality for them is they're doing all they can. Most of them are working families, but once they pay their rent or their mortgage and their gas to keep their car on the road and all of those things, there's just not a lot left for food. We talked to all our guests to find out how best we can help them. They very much told us that if they could pick up like once a week, that would be more helpful. And then they told us the school supplies were huge for them. The produce, fresh fruits and vegetables, huge, milk. And so that's how we based our program. We created it around our families.
So all the necessities there, and I'm going to say I think I saw some Halloween candy sneaking their way into those hampers as well, which I'm sure the kids are going to be pretty happy about. But it doesn't stop there. There was also a program that aims to give schools a bit of a helping hand as well. So a couple of schools did contact O'Share and say that they needed lunches for their students that were in need. So now what they do is 5 days a week, they make school lunches and they deliver those to the schools as well. So yesterday when I was there, I have to say there was a woman making hundreds of sandwiches to go off to those schools, and those kids are going to be eating those today. Yeah.
So Linda's giving us the various programs, and there are so many. It's just operating literally one block from where we are on 3rd Avenue East, and we're on 2nd Avenue East. Incredible work. The main program, of course, that's 12 noon today. They'll be serving those hundreds of hot meals to the guests as they respectfully refer to the people who use their services. I'll look forward to the next installment next hour. And Linda Ward, and thank you for being here, and thank you for being here as we continue our special homecoming edition of CBC Morning Live. We are live in Owen Sound. Hi, everybody.
It's 89.3, the new CFOS FM. Paul Hill here, along with Frederick W. Wallace, and our
right?
special
W?
guest,
William.
Okay.
Frederick W., and our special guest, Heather Hiscox. Welcome back to Owen Sound.
Listen, thank you, Paul. This is fun. We've never done this before.
No.
A simulcast on our morning show and on your morning show.
All right,
hold
very
on.
good. I'm just turning your microphone on.
Okay.
There we go. Heather, let me start.
Yes.
It's gift time.
Oh.
So
okay.
you're to
Oh, my
open this
goodness.
after.
Okay,
But I
thank
want to tell
you.
you that it's from Mary Catherine MacArthur of MacArthur Tire,
Yes.
who's a West Hill grad,
Yes.
and would have been here today, except she saw Heather Hiscox interviewing Alan Doyle, so she's gone off to Alan Doyle's show.
To Telltale Harbor in Toronto?
Yes.
Oh, my God. This is Christmas comes early, Fred.
There we go.
Thank you for all
This
of
one.
this. Okay.
We'll get you to open right in
right
front
now?
of the camera,
All right.
because it's been carefully wrapped by an
I know.
expert wrapper.
Will you, sorry, Paul. That's not very good. That's not okay. Hold on. My goodness, this is fun. Whoops. Everything.
A professional wrapping job, I can tell you that.
That's fantastic.
There we go.
Oh, yay! Oh, it's not a tack jersey with my. Thank you so much. That is fantastic.
There we go.
Oh, that's the best. Thank you very much.
Now, Heather,
Yes.
it says Hiscox 81, and that's where we wanted to start with, the number
Didn't you
81.
want to talk about the jersey that I already haven't brought?
Is there an 81 on that?
No, it's the
Okay.
CFOS CFS No Stars. I brought that as a anyway from back in the day.
That's
okay,
collectible, that
right,
one.
1981. Yes. Yes.
So let's start, 1981.
Mm-hmm.
How significant was it then, and how significant is it today? I know you saw Rob and Heather Dinsmore here this morning.
There and Bruce Ronald and so many people. I mean, Bonnie Holiday was part of that. 1981. You know, it sounds funny to tell the story in 2025, doesn't it? But I'm so proud of it because it was such a wonderful moment. 1981, I was 16, and I was Miss Teen Georgian Bay, and then I became Miss Teen Canada. And does anyone here remember that? Was anyone here? We had a fantastic parade. The whole town was here. It was really exciting. But it was a big deal for this community, and I was, so delighted. The reason why it's significant is because of that experience. I ended up in radio. I was mentioning with Ross Kentner. I had done a year of traveling and speaking and all sorts of engagements, and I was 16, and there was a job at CFOS Saturday nights, Sunday nights, 6 to 12 midnight for $4.50 an hour.
Wow.
It was country classics on Saturday night. It was oldies on Sunday, and they said, hey, nobody wants to come for that job. Would you be interested in learning how to be a radio announcer? I was still in high school at West Hill at the time, and I said, sure. I hoped I was going to law school, or at least that was the plan. I was off to University of Toronto to study French language, but I thought this is a fun summer job, and it was.
But at $4.50 an hour, you're making 10 cents more than Paul does.
That's right. That's right. Wages have not gone up that much. I was going to ask you, too, you've had a long career, of course.
Yes.
Not only, you're going into your 20th year hosting the morning show
Yes.
on CBC. And before that, you were a reporter. You covered all kinds of stories. The death of Queen Elizabeth,
Yes.
Natural disasters all over the place. What story sticks with you, or what story can you remember? What's your favorite story to cover?
That's like asking me to choose the favorite
I
child,
know,
Paul.
I
That's
know.
just a tough one. But I think that it's probably my Olympic years, I think. I did 10 Olympics,
Yeah.
which is quite a thing for which I'm proud, starting back in 2004 in Athens. And it's not so much the Olympics. There are many people who might be disillusioned with the Olympics, the IOC or doping or some of the corporatization of that. But it's the stories of the athletes, and Fred, you'll relate to this so very well. The dedication, the single-minded devotion they have to this goal. And it can all, it's a moment, and it's either glory or it's nothing. And the story of those athletes, they're never tired. I never get tired of telling them. The family's always involved. It's just and it's such a great moment of national pride and coming together as well. So I would say the body of work over those 10 Olympic Games, I'm particularly pleased with.
Great, great.
Will you miss the Olympics this year?
I will.
Okay.
I will in Milano Cortina. Oh my gosh. Yes, that's going to be tough. But it's funny. That's kind of like this business. there's always something really exciting around the corner to keep you in the business. I mean, I'm delighted that I've stayed as long as I have, but if I've thought of it previously, there's always an election, there's always an Olympics, there's always something exciting to keep us engaged and working. So I finally decided that was it. And so I will miss Milan.
You had a great interview with Nathan Schubert, and
Yes.
you told Nathan what's next. Tell our audience what's next.
Well, what is next? Let's see. Well, I don't really have a firm plan. This is true. But I am thinking about some projects, rest assured. You know,
Is it involved with a beach and palm trees?
And can Paul go with you?
you know, I think it involves some sleep. Have you ever slept in?
A long time ago.
Did you?
Yeah.
You know, in 20 years, touch wood, I have never once slept in. How many alarms do you have? I have 4.
Really?
Oh, yes. And I've
what's your
never
wake up?
slept in. I get up at 2:30 and I've never slept in. So I have about 7 more shows that I have to keep that record intact, for sure. But anyway, you know, whatever the project is and whatever the plans are, I'm really taking a bit of a leap of faith because I don't really have a firm idea in mind, but I know it's going to be a new opportunity, an exciting opportunity, a connection and a conversation with Canadians. I'm going to continue that for sure.
I'm sure you'll be great at it.
Thank you,
That's
Fred.
fantastic,
Thank
yes.
you, Paul. So nice to meet you, and thanks
Yes.
for doing this. This was fun.
Actually, we met a long time ago. I was down at CJBK down in London interviewing for a job. I come out, there's you
There I
sitting
am.
there. You got the job. Wonder why.
I don't remember that, Paul. But I'm
fork
happy
in
to
the
be on
road.
your show. The great Paul Hill and the great Fred Wallace. Thank you guys
This
so
has been
very
great.
much.
Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you.
So do we wrap it up together?
Yeah, why
on
not?
CBC Morning Live and
Why not? And 89.3, the new CFOS FM. And we've got a special song for you
oh really?
from Henry Gross.
Oh, this is when I first became a radio listener. I remember dedicating this to my youngest sister Wendy for her birthday.
Yeah, can you hit the post
Well,
still?
I don't know. Oh, -2 degrees in Owen Sound. Let's go back to 1973. Henry Gross and Shannon on 560 CFOS.
Oh, how about that?
Wow. Hired.
Fantastic.
I am, thank you so very much. Well, this is a very special homecoming as we are live in Owen Sound, Ontario on CBC Morning Live. And I am so glad that I'm not alone. Big crowd. Been with us all morning. Thank you for that sign. I really appreciate that. Long live CBC. Absolutely. Here's to that from coast to coast to coast. I really appreciate that. Linda Ward, I'm awfully glad you had to travel to be with us. Not had to. We're able to drive to be with us because you're meeting some of these excellent Owen Sounders and the people who are watching our broadcast. Who are you meeting right now?
Well, I'm down here in the crowd, Heather. I'm down in the VIP section, the front row here, because look who I found. These are your neighbors, Sophie and Anisha Rantula, who've come down here right for the very first minute of the show. You were here first thing in the morning.
We wouldn't miss Heather. Owen Sound is so proud of you, Heather.
So tell me about your memories of growing up next to Heather.
Sure. Well, Heather and her sisters, Wendy and Paula, were very academic, very well known for that. So during the teacher strike, many of myself and my classmates, we knew exactly who to go to for help. So Heather's mom actually tutored us for 3 months to keep us learning through the teacher strike. So thank you to your mom, Heather. A little late, but no, she was fantastic. And her family is so involved with the community. So it's just been an honor to have her as a part of it and have her come back.
It's been so great meeting you and hearing some of these stories. I do want to point out somebody standing up here behind me, Heather, who has a special Blue Jays jersey on. Show us the back of this jersey here. So you made this jersey?
My boyfriend made it. He's in the sporting goods industry. Heather, I corresponded with you the other day when you were lunching at Harrison Park. And I was just informing you that I used to be a 7th inning stretcher in 1995.
You used to be a 7th inning stretcher in 1995.
Okay.
Wearing
I got your email, yes.
And I was on Sportsnet behind Ron McLean and Theo Peckham during the Scotiabank Hockey Day in Canada. And that put us on the map across Canada. And now you're putting us on the map. Happy retirement to you.
Thank you. Go Jays! Thank you, thank you.
Go Jays! A special jersey for you there, Heather. Lots of fans out here in the fan zone.
I love the fan zone. That's the whole aim of this roadshow has been to shine a national spotlight on so many of the communities in Canada. And we've been in Steinbach and Lloydminster and Hudson, Quebec, and now here in my hometown. And Chris, it has been absolutely just so gratifying to be able to share the stories, and so well received, I think, by our viewers. We keep getting these wonderful emails that they're enjoying the content of our programs, and I'm really pleased about that, of course. And as you say, I have been 100% with the sunshine for all of these road shows, and long may it rain, I must say.
Yes. Well, I know, Heather, you don't control the weather, but I think there's definitely, you have some influence over it. And we'll just look at the last 4 shows, and I would say the proof is in the pudding.
Thank you, Chris. Now listen, in Jamaica, though, it's a very different story.
Oh,
my goodness. Thank you. Glad you're here to keep us up to date on this.
Yeah, this one here, Heather, this one is the most powerful storm, not just on the planet now, but in all of 2025 when we talk about the winds. 280 kilometer per hour winds with this hurricane, and the eye is almost making landfall now. It won't be long into western Jamaica. The winds are going from tropical storm force to hurricane force as we speak, and along with the very damaging winds and storm surge, there'll be rain and the landslides. We'll get to all of that. The next stop will be eastern Cuba, likely landfall tomorrow morning, and then the Bahamas after that later on Wednesday. Each time the storm will get a little bit weaker, but it will likely be a hurricane with each pit stop. But the highest impact will be Jamaica, and we're talking about 0.5 meter to 1 meter worth of rainfall. So life-threatening flash floods, life-threatening landslides, storm surge, destruction from the the winds. And then we'll be watching to see if it has any impact on Canada. Certainly indirectly, a low pressure system over the continent is going to likely drag in some of that moisture. So that could certainly impact the trick-or-treating on Friday evening in portions of eastern Canada. For today, rain showers will taper off in Nova Scotia, about 11 to 12 degrees for Ottawa, Toronto, and Montreal. Generally fair weather. Rain will ease off near the Manitoba-Ontario border this afternoon or evening. That's going to be a bit of a raw, windy day on Thursday. That's the next storm coming in. So locally heavy downpours, and into Friday, the core of the rain moves eastwards towards eastern Canada. By the way, in Owen Sound, today, the nicest day of the whole week, because after that, we get into the clouds. Into British Columbia, we've got significant winds from midday to this evening for coastal areas, and accompanying that, alpine snow and coastal rains.
Choosing to work as a journalist often means accepting to live as a nomad. I've moved across much of this country for jobs, to Halifax, Montreal, Hamilton, London, Toronto several times. I have beautiful memories of each place. But this place holds special meaning. Owen Sound, Ontario. It's my hometown. So as I bring this cross-country tour and my CBC career to an end, it feels right to return to the place where the journalism journey began. There is no place like home to celebrate, and that's what we've been doing this morning with this incredible live audience. More of that in a second, but we have live music this hour, some very good food, community leaders, inspiring change makers. That's all to come in our last hour. But first, the headlines and the breaking news out of Jamaica. Hurricane Melissa bears down on the island nation. Strong winds and heavy rain are picking up as the eye of the storm moves closer. Officials are warning much of Jamaica's infrastructure could see total structural failure.
Roofs will be tested, floodwater will rise, isolation will become a harsh reality for many.
Several people are already confirmed dead in Jamaica, Haiti, and the Dominican Republic. We'll bring you the very latest on what one UN agency is describing as the storm of the century. Alberta forces teachers back to work 3 weeks after they went on strike, and the province turns to the notwithstanding clause to make that happen.
It's a unique strike. We've never had 51,000 workers off the job at the same time.
Reaction to the move, including from the teachers' union that is now planning to launch a legal challenge. And the Blue Jays lose an epic Game 3 in the World Series, falling to the Dodgers in the bottom of the 18th inning.
High fly to center. Varsho back. Game over.
We'll hear from Jays fans who were at Dodger Stadium and from our CBC Sports reporter who's covering things for us. He, too, in Los Angeles live this hour. Good morning. It's Tuesday, October 28th. You're watching a special edition of Morning Live, extra special of Morning Live, because we're in my hometown, Owen Sound, Ontario, with people I grew up with, right there, went to high school with. Look at the Jays jerseys. This is fantastic. We have shut down the main street right in front of City Hall for our live audience and our broadcast. A fantastic crowd, been with us ever since 6 a.m. Eastern, and I'm just so appreciative of everyone coming today. We are keeping a very close eye on a very dangerous situation, and that's where we're going to begin our final hour today. Looking live at Jamaica's capital of Kingston. Hurricane Melissa powering its way toward land. And on the left of your screen is Kingston Harbor. You can see there Melissa churning up those waters. On the right, it's a live shot of downtown City Street, practically deserted as people brace for that monster storm. Now, Melissa is set to make landfall this morning as a Category 5 hurricane, the most powerful storm on the planet this year. Experts warn the impact will be severe.
National Hurricane Center in Miami is saying that within the eye wall, the total structural failure is likely. I have never seen this sentence before. So it's a massive impact that is expected to be in Jamaica.
We have more new video into us just this hour from Montego Bay. The hurricane is packing sustained winds of up to 280 kilometers an hour. Jamaica could see more than 70 centimeters of rain and storm surges reaching as high as 4 meters. The U.S. National Hurricane Center is warning Melissa could cause catastrophic flash flooding and multiple landslides. The storm is already being blamed for 7 deaths in the region, 3 in Jamaica and 4 others in Haiti and in the Dominican Republic. We have dramatic new satellite footage as well. You're seeing it right here. This is Hurricane Melissa, as is captured by that technology, and you can see the size of this storm. It is enormous as it approaches Jamaica. Jamaica is at the top right of your screen. You see that outline, and there is the storm in the eye of the storm as it all moves in, expected to pass northward across Jamaica over the course of the day, then onward to Cuba, where it's set to hit tomorrow morning. Chris Murphy is watching that, and we'll bring an update, of course, on the very latest as we get new information. But we turn next to a story that's really been on the minds and hearts of Owen Sounders for over 2 years. Sharif Rahman owned the Curry House. That's a restaurant literally just 2 blocks from where we are standing right now, on Main Street in this direction. He was beloved in Owen Sound, and not just because of his food. Since he was killed in August of 2023, the community has been seeking answers. Those finally arrived in the form of a CBC News investigation. With me here in Owen Sound is our senior investigative reporter, Jonathan Gatehouse, to share the latest information he has compiled. Good morning, Jonathan.
Good morning, Heather. As you mentioned, I mean, this is obviously a tragedy that reverberated here in this community, but also across the country and even across the Atlantic. As you had also said, it was also a case where there was very little information being made public by the police and the courts. And it wasn't until we gained access to a file hidden inside a Scottish court that we were finally able to piece together the allegations about what is said to have happened that night.
For 2 years, these photos have been the only glimpse of the men accused in the death of Owen Sound restaurant owner Sharif Rahman.
That is, until now. Building on documents filed in a foreign court, a CBC News investigation has verified images of the three men, a father, son, and an uncle. In August 2023, a group of men dining at the Curry House allegedly tried to duck out on a $150 bill. That's when Rahman gave chase. Witnesses say he was felled by a single punch, his head hitting the pavement. He died in hospital a week later, leaving behind his wife and young daughter and a shaken, sorrowful community. Robert Evans Jr. is charged with manslaughter. His father, Robert Evans Sr., and uncle, Barry Evans, are each charged as accessories after the fact. According to court documents, Evans Jr. and Sr. entered Canada on valid UK passports with fake names. They didn't have work visas, but police say they were operating a cash-only business called Total Paving and were doing jobs in Owen Sound in mid-August. The 911 call for an assault in progress came in at 9:23 p.m. When officers arrived, they found Rahman lying on the pavement, unresponsive with critical injuries. According to police, it was Evans Jr. who threw the punch that killed him. Evans Jr. left Canada on a flight from Toronto to London the next day, the rest of the family following on separate planes. UK authorities received the arrest warrants in March 2024. It took them months to track the trio down in Edinburgh, Scotland. All three have been in custody ever since and will now be extradited to Canada.
Again, that reporting from Jonathan Gatehouse. As you say, Jonathan, police have not been very forthcoming with information in this case. Why is that?
That's a good question, Heather. I mean, initially, police said, the OPP and the Owen Sound Police Service said that they couldn't comment for investigative reasons. And then it became concerns about the legal process, that they didn't want to jeopardize the extradition process in any way. But ultimately, we were granted access to the full extradition file by the Scottish court, and that included all of the documents prepared by those police services. And clearly, that didn't have any effect on the outcome of the extradition.
What did that silence mean for this community?
Yeah, I think it's fair to say that the silence gave rise to rumors and speculation. It also fueled a perception that there wasn't enough progress being made in this investigation. In fact, there was a protest stage outside of the Curry House restaurant at one point. But there's another important point to underline here. The court system in Canada is supposed to be open. The information about charges is usually available to the public and the press. And in this case, we still don't understand why there has been an exception to that rule.
But you'll continue to investigate. I think that will be very reassuring to the people here and to this community because you've already made such strides in this story. Meanwhile, the restaurant continues to operate. It is his widow who continues to operate it with tremendous support from the community. And I know you'll be continuing to follow it. So Jonathan Gatehouse, I really appreciate your being here with us today. There is breaking news as well from elsewhere in the country, and that is from Alberta. The Alberta government has passed a bill in the early hours of this morning ending the 3-week-long teachers' strike. The province introduced the legislation yesterday using the notwithstanding clause to shield it from legal challenges. The move is being criticized by many, and some call it an assault on workers' rights.
This is not a war that we chose, but make no mistake, this government has declared war on working people, not just in this province, but across the country.
The legislation forces teachers back to work as early as Wednesday, tomorrow, and also imposes a 4-year collective contract. The Alberta Teachers Association issued a statement this morning saying they plan to challenge the bill. 51,000 teachers walked off the job earlier this month following a contract dispute centered on wages and classroom conditions. So it's after 9 Eastern. Are you feeling still a little weary, a little woozy, lacking some sleep this morning? Probably you can blame the World Series. Game 3, a marathon, epic 18 innings. Who watched that? The people in the jerseys. All the way to the end, right through until 2:45. Nicely done. And here you are this morning. That's incredible. If you went to bed, though, as many did, and missed it, we want to show you the moment it all came to a heartbreaking end.
High fly to center. Varsho back. Game over. Freddie Freeman walks it off with a home run to straightaway center field. The Dodgers win it, and they take a 2-1 lead in the World Series.
So there it was, a lot of disappointment for the team, of course, but for fans who stayed up so late to watch it all. Freddie Freeman, the Canadian on the Dodgers roster, no less, with the walk-off homer there in the 18th. Brendan Little for the Jays giving up that home run. He was into his second inning of work. And this is what Blue Jays fans who were there in Dodger Stadium said as they left at the end of the game.
We got two games for one ticket. That's all that mattered.
I think Schneider torched it. We're playing a minor league team against a World Series team. I mean, we had 4 guys on the bench. Springer was, he was injured, but the other 3 pulled. I think he torched the game.
Dodgers fans are amazing. They are so... They are so classy.
All we got to do is win one while we're here. Now 1 of 2, and it's back to Toronto for Game 6. You know, so what a game! Nobody's discounting the Blue Jays now, are they? 18 innings. Wow, what a day! I got to go to bed. See ya.
That's what maybe many people are saying. Maybe that's what Jamie Strachan is saying. He's covering the series for us in Los Angeles. Literally, look at my guests. They're already in the gear, but Jamie is where it all happened. It seems like just minutes ago on the field at Dodger Stadium. Did you have a little nap there, Jamie? Is that what you did? And then you just joining us now?
Yeah, I just slept up in the press box after that game. You know, it only ended a few hours here in Los Angeles. I'm down on the field now. You know, there's still hundreds of stadium workers, you know, in the seats right now, still cleaning up after last night's marathon game, tying for the longest in World Series history, lasting 6 hours and 39 minutes. Heather, when you come to a baseball game, you never quite know what you're going to see. And I've been to hundreds, maybe thousands of baseball games, but never seen one like that last night. Anything that could have happened in a baseball game did. These teams were tied 5-all, no team scoring after the 7th inning. And then we saw, I'm just doing the math here, nearly 12 innings of shutout baseball from both sides. We saw runners thrown out at the plate. We saw heroic defensive plays. We saw a little bit of everything. And yes, there was the Freddie Freeman home run, but really the centerpiece of this game, as he always is, global superstar Shohei Ohtani. Hit 2 home runs, including the game-tying home run in the 7th. The Blue Jays learned their lesson after that and said, you know what, we are not pitching to this guy again. We are not letting this guy hurt us again. They walked him 5 times after that in extra innings. On base a record 9 times in this game. But really the pivotal pitch, a lot of Blue Jay fans will say, amongst the hundreds thrown last night, was that decision to pitch to Ohtani in the 7th when he hit the game-tying home run. It came after John Schneider made a mound visit to Sir Anthony Dominguez. Here's what he said about the decision afterwards.
Mound visit, you know, we're trying to pitch around him, you know what I mean? And you trust Sir Anthony to make pitches to do that. And sometimes for pitchers, it's hard to do that, you know, when you're kind of trying to throw a ball and didn't put it where you want to put it. But you know, he had a great game. He's a great player. But I think, you know, after that, you just kind of take the bat out of his hands.
And Heather, when you look at a game like this, players are doing things that they've really never done before. For the Dodgers, yes, it was Freddie Freeman who was the hero, but consider journeyman reliever Will Klein, not even on the Dodgers roster at the beginning of the year, never thrown more than 30 pitches at all this season. Comes on and throws 72 pitches in 3+ stunning innings of relief to keep the Dodgers in this game when both teams were running out of pitchers. It was stories like that that made up this historic game. The question is, where do the Blue Jays go from here?
Exactly was going to be my question. So one of the other things that John Schneider said last night, Jamie, which this is kind of a paraphrasing, but he says they didn't win the World Series, they won one game. So they've got the mindset to come back into action tonight, Game 4. What are the keys? What do they have to do to rebound?
Well, Heather, we've heard so much about this team's resiliency all year, and it will be tested. They can say what they want, and manager John Schneider can say, yeah, it was just one game. But to be on the brink of taking a 2-1 lead in this series, having all of those opportunities and losing that marathon game, it'll take a lot for this team to come back. From a physical point of view, both teams exhausted their bullpen resources, so they're going to be thin in the bullpen. A bigger story for the Blue Jays, the heart and soul of this team, Heather, George Springer, arguably the regular season MVP, left the game mid-at-bat, with what looked like was an oblique injury, kind of a very painful injury in your back and your side that makes it very difficult to swing a bat. We're waiting news on his health today, but looking very doubtful based on what we saw and heard after the game that he will be in the lineup today. But both teams have to bounce back here in, I'm just doing the math here, what time it is, in about 11 hours, be back on the field for Game 4. Hard to believe Shohei Ohtani, who was on base 9 times, a major league record last night, set to pitch for the Dodgers today. What can't this guy do? Shane Bieber, who was kind of lightly throwing in the bullpen with the prospect of maybe having to come in to pitch last night, will be on the mound for the Blue Jays today. Obviously, both teams mentally and physically spent. Will be a very interesting Game 4 here at Dodger Stadium, where there's still, as you can hear, the whir of the leaf blowers cleaning up the garbage, still cleaning up from last night's marathon historic Game 3. Heather?
What a thrill to cover that, I'm sure, Jamie, and so great to have you live there. I'm listening to you talk about Ohtani. I cannot imagine his going out on that mound. We can just see it over your shoulder. You're right there on the field, taking us right into the action. It's incredible. Jamie, thank you so much. And he'll be there with the CBC Sports team and news team to cover Game 4, 8 p.m. in Dodger Stadium tonight. Now, Linda Ward, who's with me here in Owen Sound, is with some people who are going to be cheering. They have not, I'm sure, Linda, given up hope. They are still fans who watched the game last night and are here to tell us all about it. So who are you with now, Linda?
Yeah, we got some Jays fans in the audience. Give us a big cheer, guys. Woo! Let's go, Jays. Absolutely. You know, they are up late or early in the morning and still came out here today trying to wipe the memory of that game out of their minds, Heather. But others I've been meeting out here in the fan zone are bringing memories of you. And I'm going to introduce a couple of them now. I want to start with Joan Irvin. Joan, your relationship with Heather goes back to 1982.
Yes. We traveled to Ottawa together, and it was for a Canadian Achievers dinner. And I represented Bruce County with my nature books, and Heather represented Grey County as Miss Teen Canada that year. We met incredible people, Pierre Trudeau, Queen Elizabeth, Prince Philip, and I had a long talk with Joey Smallwood.
What do you have here?
This is the invitation. Heather would have received the same one to go to Ottawa for this dinner.
Amazing. What an experience. And I want to bring in Jane Cook, but Heather would know you as Keeling because you were her babysitter.
Yes, I was.
What was Heather like?
Oh, she was as cute as a button. She was a good little thing, yeah.
She caused you any trouble?
No.
No trouble.
No.
Okay. What do you make of how far she's come?
Oh, I'm amazed. It's wonderful for her. Yes, she was great then, even as a 2-year-old.
Oh, well, what do you make of all that, Heather? That's amazing. Lots of people out here sharing all these stories. I'm getting all the secrets. I won't tell them on television, though.
This is just really, this is like, this is your life, Heather Hiscox. That's what I feel like this is like. But this is such fun.
Really is.
And you, Joan, I remember it exactly. We had to learn how to curtsy because, of course, we met the Queen. I don't know if Joan remembers that. And
Yes.
I'm sure I do have the invitation in my collections too. And I'm glad to know that as a 2-year-old, I was well behaved. This is very helpful. All right, thanks to all our people. Hello, and thank you all for coming. Now, I don't have a microphone for you, but please come in. Because we're going to hear from our jazz band again. I've mentioned, Double Blue at West Hill Secondary School, now Owen Sound District Secondary School. This is Fred Parsons, and I was talking about you earlier this morning. Fred was one of the music teachers of my time at West Hill. A happy retirement. Thank you very much. Look at this, though. This is what we used to have. Music, Fred, WHSS, conductor. So there you go. So David Melito, you probably know him. You know David?
Drums for me.
Did he really?
He
played.
does.
Oh, he does. There we go. I've got your microphone here. So they're playing. Do you want to know what they're playing? We had this big discussion whose version we like better. CCR, Marvin Gaye. I tend to like the original. Gladys Knight, Heard It Through the Grapevine. That's what they're going to play, and this is their last number for us. But there you go. You're getting the count. You're getting the count from Mr. Parsons. Okay. Let's do it. Okay. David Melito, thank you to your fantastic jazz ensemble. Could you please share your appreciation? They've been just fantastic. It's not an easy thing to play a trumpet or a trombone or anything at -2 or 0, so they have been real stalwarts and fantastic music. So one more time to you, and again, thank you very much. These are scenes from this past Saturday morning at the Owen Sound Farmers Market, bustling as it is every Saturday morning year-round. It was even more colorful this past weekend than usual, many there in a Halloween spirit. The Owen Sound Farmers Market was in operation even before the city of Owen Sound was incorporated. In the early days, it was the center of community life, the site of the first agricultural fair, a drill ground for the militia, a staging area for troops leaving for the First World War. Political rallies were held there, important announcements delivered. Today, it is the place to find locally grown food, fine crafts, and delicious cultural cuisine. It's also the place where my next guest got his start.
Yes,
Zach Kishig had a pop-up in the market, didn't he? Literally on the other side of the building. And now his restaurant, Nagan, is on the list of Canada's best 100 in the country, the only Indigenous restaurant on that list.
We've been very, very fortunate.
Obviously a point of pride for many in Owen Sound. Thanks for joining me. We had a little bit of when I visited your restaurant. What are you making?
So today we wanted to showcase, one of our main dishes that are on our tasting menu right now are these beautiful pigeons that we're getting just outside of Guelph. We're actually serving it with a whole bunch of, pickles, fresh herbs, and things like that we're picking right out of the garden just before dinner service here.
Okay, as you're doing this, this is part of what you call progressive Indigenous cuisine, and I've never even heard of that until meeting you. So what is that?
So what I'm doing is I'm showcasing the techniques that I've learned from working in Michelin-rated restaurants, 100 best restaurants, but I'm using ingredients that Ojibwe people were eating along Georgian Bay. So I believe that this is a great representation of what progressive Indigenous food is. I'm using a classically sort of French bird. We're going out, we're foraging ingredients and sort of mingling it together to come up with, my version and my story of what Indigenous food could be and is in today's modern society.
Okay, I don't want to burn. Let's not. We got to keep this going with the beautiful. This is fantastic. Where did your interest in being a chef, in developing this type of cuisine, where did it come from?
Well, growing up, I was raised by women, So there were always women standing around cooking and things like that for the young boys and the men and stuff like that. But what really set it off, I think, is me and my brother, we laugh all the time, is I remember sitting him down as a little boy, making him watch me stir Campbell's chicken noodle soup, pretending I was on a cooking show.
Really?
And
And now you're on a
And then now we're on an actual cooking show. It's crazy how this how life comes around.
Oops, okay.
So what we've done with these is, yesterday we smoked them over birch.
Yeah, you have a birch bar smoker. I saw it at a restaurant. Amazing. Does that impart a certain flavor?
We wanted to showcase birch in our cooking quite a bit because birch has been used quite significantly in our culture, from making baskets to making canoes to helping with housing. But here we wanted to have our own signature sort of smoke and wood that we would use to cook and perfume meat. So what we did is we seasoned this very lightly yesterday. We smoked it for a few hours over birch. Here we've just pan-fried it in a bit of rendered duck fat just to get the skin nice and crispy. We want these birds to be medium rare. You can eat these almost like duck. So what we're going to do is we're just going to let this rest now that they're cooked.
We have 3 minutes left.
So I'm just going to let it rest for 1 minute.
Okay, perfect.
The rest of the dish here
is all set.
Is a delicata.
Is that quince? Oh, it's a squash.
Delicata squash puree. I'm just going to take this pan off the heat here. I got a little bit of a jus or a warm vinaigrette that I'm going to use to make sort of a sauce. But with the birds here, we cook them on the crown. And what I mean by that is we keep them on its breastplate just so that it can stay nice and moist when we're cooking it. As you can see here, the bird's nice and moist.
It is very moist. Listen, not to distract you because you have a sharp knife there, but you told me about your journey. You have cooked in some of the finest restaurants in this country.
Yes, ma'am.
Now you have your own. How does that feel?
It's been sort of my life's work to get to this point. As you said, I started at the farmers markets. I would set up this plastic table and invite guests to come try, the food that I was cooking. And, I've been very, very lucky to stay persistent with it and be able to grow into the space that I am today. And we're very, very fortunate.
And it's hard to get a table because your reputation is growing far and wide. And you have a very specific goal you were sharing with me when I was at the restaurant the other day.
We've been very lucky to get on the 100 best, be featured in different TV shows and stuff like that now. But the goal that I really want to showcase is I want to be the first, Indigenous chef in Canada, an Indigenous restaurant in Canada to win a Michelin star would be, not only great for, Indigenous culture, myself, but it'd also be great for the city of Owen Sound to have an Indigenous, led restaurant with a Michelin star, and it would help bring, more tourism towards our area.
Well, listen, keep going, because I've got to make sure I try this. I have never eaten pigeon before, and you're going to witness it all here on live television.
Okay, so we have the breast that we carved off of the crown here. We have our vinaigrette, or our sauce that's been warmed up. The last thing I'm going to do is I'm going to start applying the garnishes. So this is a little bit of a glaze that we make, kind of a sweet and sour glaze. We just glaze it very lightly. Next thing I'm doing is I'm just going to season it pretty heavily with just a little bit of salt.
And this is something that you would be serving in your 12-course tasting menu that you have.
This is our main course right now. This is a bit of a nice hyssop that we forage every single day from the gardens that we use.
Beautiful.
This is just a little bit of fennel stalk. So once again, to reaffirmate that sort of black licoricey kind of flavor.
Do we have a hiccup? I don't see any cutlery here.
Yeah, you know what? I was just thinking I didn't put any cutlery for it.
I'm not going to pick the...
I got to blame Samantha for that one. No, I'm just kidding.
I may not be trying pigeon because I'm looking. There's not a...
Oh.
That's all right.
We add just a little bit of...
I will imagine it, but shoot.
These are onion capers.
Okay.
So a little bit of onions that have gone to seed that we picked and just pickled.
So again, the Michelin star goal, I love it, but also, again, we had this conversation in your restaurant. You know how you might say, I'm going out for Chinese, I'm going out for pizza or something like that. You want it to be top of mind for Canadians, right?
We always hear about Chinese food, French food, Indian food and things like that, but I'm a big believer that when is Indigenous food going to have its time and its moment on that same sort of platform where people are sitting at home, instead of tonight going for Chinese, let's go out and try Indigenous food. It doesn't have to be me, but if we can help pave the way and put Indigenous food on the map of Canada like that, it would be great for everybody.
Thank you very much. It's plastic, but
That's okay.
It's not very glamorous. You wouldn't get this in a Michelin, but I want to try this though.
So to finish the dish here,
quick.
We just have a little bit of pickled aronia berries.
Beautiful.
Our squash. I'm going to finish it with just this vinaigrette here. So this is a vinaigrette that's been made from the pigeon bones, split with a walking onion oil.
Split with a walking onion oil.
Okay, and then the last thing we do
is that
we have just.
Can you see how beautiful that is? My goodness, Keith is getting this.
Breast right here.
Oh, and these are all in ceramic plates, each individually fired, so they have a very unique tasting and look.
We started this stuff, we wanted to showcase local artistry and local potters in our tasting menu. And we're very lucky with each course. We have different potters and different things like that have collaborated with us, to make our experience even that much better.
Should I have a little bit of everything to get the whole combo? Excuse me. The rule is never eat on live television. Just FYI. Well, if this is pigeon, my very first taste of it, it is spectacular. Zach Kishig, you are skilled and you are special, and it's been a pleasure to have you and to showcase this. Again, Naga means
dish in Ojibwe. So the restaurant is actually dished by Zach Kijik.
Beautiful, and that is a spectacular dish. What a story from the market to the country and hopefully even beyond. Thank you so much for being my very special guest. Someone to really be proud of as you watch him grow on 10th Street East. All right.
Fast and Furious.
As is the case in many communities in Canada, the homeless situation in Owen Sound and in the surrounding region of Grey County has become more dire in recent years. Many of the people who are the most vulnerable, who need the most help, turn to a very special agency that is literally one street over from where we are this morning. It provides meals, medical care, many other supports. And Linda has been sharing the story of O'Share, really the stories, because it's involved in so many aspects of social services.
Absolutely. We've been talking about what a multifaceted approach this is, and they are doing so much for the community when it comes to giving out food, when it comes to connecting people with a doctor. But I want to tell you about the SOS program that they run there. So 3 days a week, people can come in. We're lining up outside the door, actually, to come in and visit with a nurse practitioner, a mental health worker, somebody from the United Way who is called a social navigator who connects people with different services. It's sort of a one-stop shop for people who need help in this community. And I met a man, his name is Ed, and I want to just take you through his visit. Here's how that went.
Good morning.
How are you?
All right, how are you?
Good. How can we help you today?
Just typical concerns, you know, my mental stability, but as far as my addictions, my past 2 tests have come back positive, so that's good. My life was going downhill very quick, and I did not like the person I was, and I didn't know how to get away from that. The SOS group, they're just amazing. Like, they're just, I wouldn't know life without them, you know.
So the folks that we serve typically don't have access to things like telephones, clocks, alarms, and often can't access traditional services on the schedule that the system usually expects. So we've offered team-based care. So sometimes you might be able to have 3, 4, 5 of your needs met in a single visit because the whole team is here.
I've been dealing with the girls now from SOS for probably 18 months now, so I think I've come a long way. I'm able to look at myself in the mirror now and be proud of who I am. As I wake up in the morning, I actually have a smile on my face when I'm brushing my hair, you know. Yeah, and like I said it before, and I'll say it again, if it wasn't for you guys, I wouldn't be here now. You know, I'd be in a box somewhere.
We're so happy to help.
I'm glad that the help was there.
He credits this program with saving his life. He was on the streets for 17 months, and now he has a home. He has all the service. He's made a real relationship with people here. And I also spoke with Bright Shores, Director of Mental Health and Addiction Services, who says it is actually life-saving because they've actually seen the number of opioid overdoses and deaths go down since this program expanded.
Very powerful, and thank you to him for sharing his story so candidly. This is a program, I mean, people in Owen Sound are rightly, justifiably very proud of O'Share, and other municipalities are looking to the kinds of things it does to use and implement elsewhere in the country.
Yeah, that's right. They even went to Ottawa to share some of their model. And part of that includes even a mobile drug testing, sort of a program where they go out and they'll actually drug test on the streets, the drugs themselves. So that is the first in Canada. They're now looking at possibly expanding that program. It started right here in Grey County, expanding that in some of the even bigger municipalities across Canada.
Fantastic, fantastic reporting all morning, and thank you for sharing those different aspects of O'Share as Owen Sound continues to support that. Linda Ward with us, and she's going to continue to meet people in the audience. Linda's been enjoying our next guest because her daughter is a very accomplished Irish dancer, and we have a very accomplished group of young contemporary dancers. They're part of the Wildflower Dancers, the Owen Sound Dance Academy. We have one more number from them, and let's enjoy it now. The Owen Sound Dance Academy and the Wildflower Dancers. I'd like to tell you a little bit more about my Owen Sound. Its rich marine history, the jewel of Georgian Bay still docks here for the winter, its agricultural heritage, its key role in the civil rights story of this country, and its heroes. Billy Bishop was born here. Tom Thompson was raised just outside of town. But I'll also tell you how it shaped my story. I grew up in a simpler time, afforded every opportunity by my parents and guided by excellent teachers and community leaders. My teenage years were marked by a singular event. In 1981, when I was 16, I was chosen Miss Teen Canada. The whole region celebrated, and my life changed. The local radio station, CFOS, sponsored me, and at the end of my year offered me a part-time job as an announcer. I wasn't even out of high school, but there I was, spinning discs, reading hog reports, and loving it. Suddenly, this aspiring law student was studying journalism instead. I know much has changed here in the 43 years since, but the natural beauty hasn't, nor has the warmth of the people. I'm grateful for the interest and support this community has always shown me. I'm always proud of my Owen Sound roots. I always try to make Owen Sound proud. So on this final stop of our cross-country tour, it feels right to celebrate here, in my hometown. Proud of my hometown, to say the least. And we couldn't have organized this homecoming broadcast without the help of the city of Owen Sound. Ian Boddy has been mayor of Owen Sound since 2014, and I want you to know, Mayor Boddy, that Rebecca and Vivica and all of your staff, we need to give them kudos because they have been fantastic. Absolutely. They organized, they invited, they hauled that hay, they did it all to make it possible for us to be here. So thank you so very much.
We have a great staff from top to bottom. I'm very proud of them.
Well, it's been a pleasure to reconnect with them and with you. Now, a little bit ahead of me, not much, but we went to the same high school, WHSS, West Hill Secondary School. And somewhere out there is Jill McFadden, Ian and Jill McFadden, Fred Parsons with his jacket on, but on student council, president, vice president. I remember, looked up to you so much, and now here you are leading the city and have been since 2014.
Now we all look up to you.
Oh, no, different role. But what would you say? I mean, I've come back home, and they always say you can't go home again, because it's not quite the same, for sure. There has been a lot of change. I come at it as an outsider as I visit, but you watch it around you on a daily basis. What is the biggest change that you've observed since our high school days?
Well, in '79, I left town as a young kid, could hardly wait to leave, and then I came back around age 30 and could hardly wait to come back. So I've lived outside and came back. So much has changed and so much has stayed the same. It's still the community that it was back then.
In terms of warmth and spirit?
Oh, yeah.
I can just see that from all of the people, for sure.
The population has grown. We were probably about 18,000 in the late 70s, and now we're approaching 23,000 and going up from there. Lots of development, still the regional.
Let's talk about that. I mean, I was just reading this, the development numbers are at historically high levels. More than 210 million in construction approved this year, and over the past 6 years, the peak was 67 million. So this is exponentially more. Why? What's happening in Owen Sound?
I think we've been noticed. As much as anything. We've got great services. You know, you go from the art gallery to the symphony to the folk society, folk festival. There's so much culture going on in this town. Whether I'm out sailing in a sailboat, fishing, walking the trails around here, there's so much to do here, Harrison Park. And the rest of the world has started to notice. So we've changed things to try and make it easier for developers to come, to try and attract that investment, and they've come.
Well, you used a really interesting, an iCloud, something called, one moment please, Cloud Vision, is that what it's called? Sort of an iCloud kind of thing to remove some of the red tape, some of the bureaucracy in terms of putting the development permits through.
Beyond that, the processing, just everything is done differently than it would have been a number of years ago. How the developers are coming to here once, they're not back and forth between different departments and using technology that's out there to try and make it easier for everything that we do. You know, we're doing a service review. We've just completed it, or I guess in the process of completing it, that we're re-looking at everything and modernizing everything that we do here in the city, and making it more efficient for everybody to try and provide better services to the public.
And looking to the future, Owen Sound's just released its new strategic plan, Vision 2050. And when I was speaking with the mayor yesterday, I promised I wouldn't make him recite all 7 priorities. So I have them written out. Prosperous city, green and resilient city, celebrating and embracing culture, city building, a city that moves, safe city, and fostering mutually beneficial and respectful relationships. These are the priorities for the future. Which do you think will be the most challenging?
Oh, probably all of them, but none of them, in a sense, that when you put it into a strategy, you're going to work in each one of those. You know, we had thousands of inputs from the community to help build this out over quite a period of time, and it's really the community's strategic plan for the city. And we'll chip away, and future governments, obviously, future councils will chip away at these for the next number of years and change them as they need to be changed, but we're trying to set up the future so the city can continue to prosper.
So we know what it looked like in the 80s, 70s, 80s, 90s. What does Owen Sound 2050 look like to you, Mayor Boddy?
Much the same in a lot of ways, but different. We will have more people living here. We will have more people from around the world. We will build better relationships with the Saugeen Ojibwe Nation that are traditional landholders here. Original village here. We've worked very hard on that in the last little while. It's very important to us to build those relationships with Truth and Reconciliation. And it'll be a progressive city that gets along and prospers, works together.
And it will retain that natural beauty for which it is renowned. That doesn't change, I hope, in all of this. Ladies and gentlemen, your mayor, Ian Boddy, and congratulations, oh my, more presents.
More presents.
Oh, this is a bit overwhelming.
So we're watching the Blue Jays.
Right.
And as Canadians, we all feel it when they're going to win.
Okay.
Going to win.
Going to win.
So we take pride when any Canadian does anything special. As Owen Sounders, we're really proud to say we come from where Tom Thompson comes from, where Billy Bishop comes from, where Agnes MacPhail went to high school, Dr. Bethune went to high school here, and we all take pride when one of our own does extremely well. And you've done extremely well. We're all very proud of you. Very happy the way you have always remembered us here in Owen Sound. So.
That's so
like
beautiful.
Pass you that.
Thank you, Mayor Boddy. Thank you very much. Thank you. Do you want me to open it now, or can I save it for later?
You can save it for later, but I really want to give a little shout out to Nadine Carr, who was the ceramics person that put that together. Grew up in Owen Sound, went to OCAD, now lives in Barrie, and has really done something special there.
Look at that souvenir of Owen Sound. That is spectacular. Thank you so very, very much. A memento of today and a place that I hold so very dear. Thank you very, very much. My goodness. Thanks, Mayor Boddy. Really appreciate that. So this is the end of the cross-country tour. There is one more very special broadcast still to come, November the 6th, which, as I told you initially, is the exact 20th anniversary of the day I began as host of the morning show. And as you know, that will be my last broadcast because I'll be leaving CBC News after that. If you think today was celebratory, and boy it was, well, just wait, because we have a live audience in the atrium of the Broadcast Center in Toronto. If you would like to join us there, you can scan the QR code you see on the screen. There it is. You can go to cbc.ca/celebrating Heather. That's me. Okay, cbc.ca/celebrating Heather. This is CBC Morning Live. and Gary and everybody make that possible. Our team in Toronto, our morning crew as always, handling expertly everything that's come before them today. But I cannot say enough about the team here in Owen Sound. You would not believe, well, I think you can tell, how incredibly hard they have been working to bring this very special broadcast to you. So, Jen Sheepy, Katie Mason, Genevieve Napier, Dinu, Keith, honestly, the entire camera and technical crew, my heart is full. You have done such an incredible job, and I thank you for creating such a special morning for me. To everyone in Owen Sound, all of the live audience and in the community, as I mentioned, always so supportive and so proud and so concerned and connected to me. I am proud to be an Owen Sounder, and always will we thank you for coming out for this very special day. I will see you tomorrow in the studio in Toronto, but we've got to get ready for Game 4. So why am I in this? We're going to take you out to the ball game one more time with the OSDSS. Thank you for everything. Join me in a sing-along, everybody.